Hey guys, ClimaxCombo here, back with another deck profile. This time we have our good friend Domo.
Sup?
He's going to be profiling his English RWBY deck.
That's right,
I
boys
hope you
and
guys
girls.
enjoy this guest deck profiler.
Of course. It's been a hot minute since I've been on, but you guys saw me do the opening, so here I am yet again. This particular deck profile is going to be four standby, four gate. I run the TD gates because the trial deck combos with both the 1-0 Ruby and the 2-1 Weiss. I think it's a great climax combo. I'll explain it once we get into each of the cards, and we'll start going level by level. So my level 0 consists of 4 of the 0/0 double R Pura, 3 of the Sun Wukong, 2 0/0 Cinder, 2 of the double R Yang, 2 of the trial deck Ruby Runner, 1 of the Climax Swap Weiss, 1 of the trial deck Brainstormer Blake, and 1 of the Brainstormer Nora 0/0. They all have their different uses. A lot of level 0 utility. In particular, you'll have Sun. Let's start by explaining the cards one by one. We'll start with the 0/0 Pyrrha. She's important because she works with the 3/2 Ruby. You need 2 of her in your memory in order to activate Ruby's climax combo with the standby. And what she does is, on reverse, she reveals top 3. You pick 1, add it to your hand, and discard a card. So basically, hand filtering, always really useful. You can only grab remnant characters with it, though. That's pretty notable. Very rarely you just kind of miss. But generally, you're getting at least 1 card, and then you can filter out whatever you don't need in your hand at that point in the game. Please note, though, that even if you do not grab something, because grabbing something is optional, you still have to discard a card. So even if none of the cards that you see are useful, just grab it and discard it. But the more notable effect on her after the fact is that when she's reversed as well, she goes straight to memory if your memory has 2 or less characters. So she provides a little bit of hand filter, provides a little bit of deck compression, and of course, like I said, you need 2 of her in memory to work with the 3/2 Ruby. So I run 4 of her. I do run 2 proxies though, because as you guys saw from the pack openings, I only pulled 2 of the double R Pyrrha. Working on getting 2 more. That'll be for later. Next up, we have 3 of the Sun Wukong. On play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a remnant character, he gets 2k till the end of the turn. So on play, 4k beater. Pretty strong, runs over most things. And on reverse, you can pay 1 and clock yourself. You get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and grab any remnant characters among them and add them to your hand. So he can plus you on reverse, and he also clocks you. At level 0, it just kind of accelerates your play into level 1. It's really good in regards to fixing your hand for level 1 as well, because you get to grab top 2 cards of your deck, and you get to run over stuff, provided you hit a remnant character. So, good card to have. I think he helps in most deck builds, especially in yellow. Next card we've got are 2 of the Cinder here. On play, you can pay 1 and discard a remnant character to check your top 4. And then you can grab any card from among those top 4 and add them to your hand, and then discard a card to your waiting room. You send the rest of the waiting room, sorry. She's good because you can grab climaxes, events. Really, she is that clutch level 0 that you can really play at any point in the game to search for something you really need. And because you drop a remnant character, she also hand filters. So that's always useful to have throughout the game. Great utility card. Really helps grab any combo pieces you may need later on as well.
Sorry to interrupt.
So when you say on reverse, is when she gets reversed and when he reverses something,
Right.
right?
My apologies. I should have clarified.
You're good.
When I say on reverse, for Pyrrha, it's when she gets reversed, and for Sun, when he reverses something, then you get to activate his effect of paying one and clocking yourself.
Cool.
Next card we've got here is the 00 Double R Yang. On play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a remnant character, you can give anything on your field plus 2k. So you can give it to herself, making her a 3500 beater, which is okay. Or you can give it to another target if she doesn't need the power herself. That kind of makes her useful throughout the game. If you just need a little bit of extra power to push over something, she can provide that for you. Her other effect, though, is when she reverses something, you can set one of your characters to rest and put it in the back row. You see these kinds of effects in a whole bunch of other sets. It's just one of those things where you can crash cards in. If it gets reversed, you can set it back to rest and move it to the back row. Or if you just want to save one of your characters as a resource for later, you can also send those back to back row. Great level 0 effect. Really saves on having to worry about losing field advantage. Next card we've got is the Trial Deck 00 Runner Ruby, or rather one of the Runner Rubies, because they have two different ones. This one in particular, on play, she can reveal the top two cards of the deck, and she gets plus 1k power for each remnant character among them. So she can potentially be a 4k beater, sometimes a 3k beater, sometimes she doesn't get power at all. Just nifty to be able to run over stuff at the beginning of the game. Her next effect, though, is when during the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can reveal the top card of your deck. You could mill the top card of your deck, and then if it's a remnant character, then you can move her to any open position in the center stage. So she's a runner. She can move in front of things, move away from things, provided you hit that remnant character. In some cases as well, she can just mill top to prevent that one extra damage, or she can hit a climax and totally screw you over. A bit of a hit or miss. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. Whether or not you do choose to run this card, just be aware of that possibility. Next card we've got now, we've got the 00 Weiss. On play, you can discard a climax to salvage a remnant character from your waiting room back to your hand. Early game, if you don't really need your climaxes, that is generally the case. Level 0, you may not need the climax in your hand. You just drop it and you grab a relevant level 1 for later, or you grab a level 0 that you may need at the moment. You could also use it during late game. Say if you have just that extra climax in your hand and you need to grab a level 3, you can do that too. And of course, she does have a second effect. So it activates up to twice per turn. Whenever you play another remnant character, she boosts herself by 1000. Not extremely relevant, but if in a pinch you need to run over something at level 0, sure, you can play her, then play your other characters, and then just swing. But for the most part, she is mostly here just for the climax discard effect to salvage. Now let's go into the Brainstormers. A lot of people run 2 of the Nora. I have opted to run 1 of the 00 Uniform Blake. During the climax phase, she can pump something by 1000. That's just a nifty little effect. During your climax phase, I should say. So you get to pump something 1000 during your turn, lets you run over things by just that little bit. Sometimes it lets you plan around possible backups. And of course, she has a spammable brainstorm effect, where you can pay 1, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and if, of course, any of them are climaxes, then for her, you get to search your deck. And for each card you search, you discard a card. So she's a search brainstormer. I generally opt to use her over two Noras because she is a spammable brainstorm. Lets you pay out any climaxes you may hit in your stock, or if you just need to mill out damage from your deck when you know you're out a ton of climaxes, you can just get that all out of the way so you don't take too much damage. And then, of course, the double R00 Nora. Whenever something else gets reversed, you can pump something. Whenever your characters reverse the enemy's characters, the opponent's characters, then you can pump something else by 500. It's one of those things where if you can run over stuff, it kind of guarantees that other things can run over other things. Like you can just cascade power up into something so that you can set up your reverses. But of course, the more relevant effect here is her Brainstorm, where hers is pay one and then you can rest two of your characters, or rest this card rather. Pay one and rest her, and then you mill top four. For each climax, you can salvage a character. The fact that you can just salvage without having to discard, I mean, that's the whole point of her being able to use her effect only once because she taps herself. But salvaging is always extremely useful to have, whether it could plus you and you can gather your combo pieces, gather relevant level 1s through level 3s. Always nifty to have at least one, always nifty to have the ability to salvage on a Brainstorm. And that's my level 0. We'll go ahead and move on to level 1. All right, here is my level 1.
Oh, okay.
It's very sparse because I do run standby. A lot of my level 1 will be going into my level 2, but these level 1s are pretty good for helping me set up for that level 2 point. We'll start off with the 1-0 trial deck RWBY. So when you attack with her and you have 2 or more remnant characters, she gets plus 2k. So 6/5 on attack. Pretty good for a 1-0. The important thing is her ClimaxCombo with the gate here. So when you play the gate and she reverses something, then you can check the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 character to your hand, and then send the rest to the waiting room. And afterwards, she also pumps another character by 2k. She pumps something else by 2k as well. So she lets you grab something off the top of your deck, out of the top 4 cards of your deck. Always nice to have a plus ClimaxCombo. Plus, she gives something else 2k, lets you set up for multiple RWBY reverses, because she does have to reverse something to activate her ClimaxCombo. But yeah, mill 2 plus if you grab cards from your deck, and then mill through your deck as well. Pretty nice for a level 1 combo. Next level 1 we've got here is the 1/1 Glinda. She is particularly interesting because on attack, or rather when another remnant character attacks, she gets plus X power for each remnant character on the board. So she gets stronger every time something else attacks, and she has hand encore. Thing about this is the fact that she just gets bigger every time you swing, and because you run standby, if you hit a standby at level 0, she's an alright level 1 target, and then her encore lets her stick on the field. She just stays on the field, and then she can tackle things over. It's a decent level 1 option. And of course, the last and third level 1, I run 2 of the Atom. 1/0, 5k. When he attacks, you can send a character from your field to the waiting room, and then you can check the top card of your deck. If it's a remnant character, you can add it to your hand. Basically, you're sacking a character for grabbing another card. Because you're generally going to have more cards on the board by hitting your standbys, Adam will pretty reasonably have enough cards to just kind of toss away. to add back to your hand from the top of your deck. Think he's pretty useful to have, and he's a decent card to run as a 1/0. And that's my level 1. Like I said, pretty sparse, but that's because we run standby, and we're going into level 2 a lot from level 1. Okay, I say that, and then I have 4 level 2s. My level 2 is super sparse too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like I said, because standby, you always go 1 level up. So from level 2, you hit level 3. But the level 2s, you have a 2/2 Ruby here, 6/5, but she does get plus 2,000 power for each of your backstage characters. So 10/5 base as long as you've got 2 in your backstage. And plus, when she attacks, you can check your top card and either send it to the top of the deck or send it to your waiting room. So you get to filter your trigger, whether or not you want to hit that extra soul or you want to hit that climax. You could just send it to waiting room or you can keep it on top. It's always a nifty effect to have. Then here's the 2/1 Weiss that combos with the gate alongside the 1/0 Ruby. On play, she does boost a character by 500 for each remnant character you have on the board. And it could be any character, including herself. Another one of those, yeah, you can just play her to pump something to run over stuff. But, of course, with her climax combo, that's where the running over stuff becomes relevant, because on reverse, she gives herself and another character the ability to, when they reverse a character, you get the Sun Wukong effect. You can check the top 2 cards of your deck, and if either any of them are remnant characters, you can add them to your hand. So at level 2, more building up your hand. You can plus off of this effect just like with the Ruby, but this one more so because you get a plus 2 cards rather than just the plus 1. And, she gives that effect to another character as well. So it's not just her providing the pluses, like another character will be able to plus you too. Next level 2 character I've got here is the 2/1 Crow. He is just a 2/1 backup, gives 2.5k, but his other effect is the more relevant one. You pay 2 to refresh your deck. Deck refresh, always nice to have.
OP? What?
Oh.
Sheena backup?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
But yeah, he's a backup that refreshes you. Always super nice to have a free fresh. Then this last level 2 is a 2/3 event, the Maidens event. So if you have 5 characters on your board, you can activate it, and basically it'll pump your character by 1,500, but the more relevant effect is that when the opponent attacks, you can stop all of their damage. It literally says this card cannot deal damage to a player. So you can give that effect to an enemy and they just can't do any damage. Like that just keeps you alive. That's just obvious, it's relevant. That's my level 2 lineup. Like I said, pretty sparse. And now we're going to go into the level 3s. All right, so here's my level 3 lineup. There are 11 of them. It is kind of a lot, but it's a standby deck, and you're going to be going into them. We'll start with the 3/2 rubies. I run 3 of them. She is the card that climax combos with the standby. She is generally your finisher, and she just does a lot of damage. But otherwise, when she's on the board, she gets 1,000 as long as all of your... She gets plus 2,000 as long as all of your characters are remnant characters. So she's just 1,100 off the bat. And with her combo, as long as you've got 2 of the level 0 Pura in your memory, then you can just tap her to send a character in front of her, level 3 or lower, to the opponent's clock, and then deal 3 damage off the top of their deck. Yeah, that's just her combo. It's a great finisher because it just shoots to clock. You don't have to worry about reversing something. This can be problematic though if the opponent has a hexproof-like effect. They can't be targeted. And also it does weigh a bit on your stock because she taps and she doesn't attack. But by that point in the game, you're hopefully looking to finish them off anyways. Or if you're at level 2, you could also get this because standby. You're just looking to deal damage to move them to that point. Next, we've got these 3/2 Blakes. On play, you discard a card and then you heal from your clock to your stock. And you can play her early if you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room. So she gets -1 level in hand. Great to early play at level 2 if you aren't hitting your standbys for whatever reason, or if you don't have any standbys in your hand to just play. Just gives you a beat stick to leave on the field until you get to that point. But otherwise, she does get 500 for each other remnant character on your board is in the backstage. Sorry, she gets 1k for each remnant character in your backstage. So just like RWBY, she's just 11 base as long as you've got 2 back row. Yeah, healer beat stick, can't go wrong. Now I also run these 3/2 Weiss. She's interesting because she gives you a back row option to stand by. She is a 2k assist in front. No conditions there, just 2k. They don't have to be level 3 or anything. And if you do happen to play her from your hand, she does heal. Pretty standard level 3 effect. Another thing that she does, though, she doesn't just give 2k in front. You can also tap her to check the top 2 cards of your deck, and you can put them in any order. So you can control your triggers. Pretty nice to have, whether you want to do less or more damage. And then moving on, last couple of level 3s here, we've got the 3/2 Salem. She gets 1k for each character in your opponent's backstage, another 1100 beater, provided your opponent has a backstage. But her interesting effects come in the huge paragraph at the bottom. So on play, you can pay 1 and choose from one of 2 effects. Either you can swap your opponent's stock with the top cards of their deck, or you can hit the bottom 5 cards of their deck and they take 1 burn damage for each climax that you hit. So either you can set up for possibly big damage, or you can burn them for the last bit of life they may have left. Super versatile to play. I honestly think she's probably one of the better cards in this set. And yeah, I run 2 of her because it's nice to have that consistency. I do have the option of salvaging her, or if one's in stock, I'll always at least have 1 to work with. And then the last card, 3/2 Neo, best girl. On play, you can do a couple of things, actually. You could pay 1 to salvage a climax. So if she sets up for your RWBY, you can grab your standby from the waiting room, add it to your hand for just 1. And then what she also does is, if you discard a remnant character, then she can choose 2 open slots on your opponent's stage and fill them up with 2 characters from your opponent's waiting room. All right. Nifty thing about this is that it perfectly sets up RWBY for shooting a character to clock. Sometimes there will be decks that just crash into you to leave their board empty. Sometimes it saves them, but then in this case, you can force them to have something on board to reverse or something on board to send a clock with RWBY's effect. Another cool thing about it is you can just send 2 level 1s to their board, and maybe you want to control how much damage you're doing by side attacking. So they take that 1 damage when you attack with the level 3 character or 2 soul character. Yeah, she sets up for a lot of things. Run her at 1 because you don't really want to hit her with your standbys, and she isn't absolutely necessary. She just kind of sets things up. But she is still really nice to have in the deck. Then from here, we go... we go into how to play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, you showed this in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No.
That was 0/0 discard? And you can grab anything? It's broken?
Yeah, you can grab anything.
It's broken. How does that make sense?
Doesn't.
It does.
Fuck? No, that doesn't make
You
sense.
gotta pay 1.
I don't give a fuck.
You gotta pay 1 to discard a remnant character. I gotta discard a character. I can't just discard anything.
access too?
Yeah.
That's broken.
No.
There's no liberal restriction.
And that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, water.
You good, bro? Oh, fat man needs water.
I do need water.
His nips are drying.
It's not the reason.
Then I don't think it's serious enough.
Yeah, he needs all the water to photosynthesize.
He always has something to say, doesn't he?
Something cool to
I was
say.
with him until that. Now you don't get water.
You bitch!
You were gonna get water anyway.
Alright, hit me with some vodka.
Sometimes I impress myself. I was gonna give you some of my water. For forgiveness.
Thank you.
No problem, baby. That's what I'm here for.
It wasn't for you, it was for this fine gentleman over here.
He was about to not give you water.
Never.
Because of you.
No.
Alright, how do I want to talk about this?
How to brew this?
How do I want to talk about this?
Kind of talked a lot about.
Yeah,
you
about what
already
each
kinda
card
did. You
does.
already kinda
Yeah.
did, yeah. To be fair, Frank.
So
I guess I can go optimal turn 1 play and then optimal go optimal first optimal go first play and then optimal go second play. And then just kind of talk about cards that I mulligan.
that's hard to.
Yeah, that's true. That is hard to do.
It depends on who you play.
That is very true.
Just be like, yeah, that's real broken. I think you just do general game plan. Like general game plan, beat up shit with this utility, plus off RWBY as much as possible with the combo.
Yeah.
Plus off fucking Weiss level 2, shit out level 3s level 2, fuck them in the ass, GG.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you could just go something like that.
Okay, makes sense.
This boy. Some of the yogurt thing. Frozen.
Looks kind of good.
It's not frozen.
Is that Dominic's dick? No, I'm sorry, I didn't think about it.
Wait, aren't you happy that I didn't think about it?
Domo's nips rejoice?
I shouldn't have given it.
You shouldn't have given it.
Tastes like. It's like someone just kind of like cut a peep, like the tip of your dick.
You pissed me off.
But like regrow.
You pissed me off. I know it's not your fault. It's because we have awful fucking friends.
Alright.
What else shit out?
What, Dominic's dick tip?
No.
What did you say?
Yogurt lovers rejoice.
God damn it. Why? Why am I here? Just to suffer? Oh, God.
I'm sorry, Domo. This is Drace's fault. You shouldn't have ate that in front of me. He know, and you're here. He's asking for it. He was saving this. I bet that's like the one last one in fucking freezer for like years.
No, I'm alive.
No, he's waiting for it.
You shut your fucking mouth. Alright.
Alright, dude.
Alright.
Squirt boy.
Alright. So, going into how to play the deck. General game plan at level 0. Get rid of your Puras as quickly as possible. You do want to go ahead and just send them to memory whenever you can. Just run them into things. They're only 2k. There are not a lot of things that it can run over. Of course, stay away from your stock or your clock suiciders, or even just like your deck suit. Basically, anything that doesn't involve her reversing, just avoid them. You just want to get rid of her as soon as possible, just like the series. Just get rid of her as soon as possible. Never bring her up again. It's kind of fucked up. Other game plan at level 0, you have a lot of beater options. You get possible 4K rubies, possible 4K suns, possible 3-5 yangs. Just run over things, plus off sun, accelerate to level 1 so that you can hit your standbys, get your level 2s as fast as possible. And of course, hand fixing, super useful. Set up for your level 1. Rubies help you save resources by running. And then Yang helps you save resources by moving things to the back. Super straightforward there. And of course, as I mentioned before, these are all your utility level 0s. You don't generally want to play them at level 0, but you can. Just as options if you don't have any of the other 4 cards. Super simple, straightforward, level 0. Nothing complicated about it. Level 1 is as straightforward as level 0. Beat over things, plus off of Ruby's combo as much as possible. Whenever you hit standbys and you have extra cards, just sack your not useful cards with Adam till you can grab off the top of your deck. And then, of course, if you're level 0 and you hit your standbys, you have the option of hitting Glinda. You just run over things and she stays on the field off of that hand encore. You'll have a lot of cards in your hand, generally off Sun and off of Ruby anyways, so you'll have some leeway to discard Encore for Glinda. Plus, I guess at level 1, you're also looking to stand by to hit your 2/2 Rubies. So yeah. Level 2 also, or level 1 also, because it goes into level 2, kind of sparse, like I mentioned. At level 2, though, you do have the option of playing the Weisses to run over things so that you can add cards back to your hand. Maybe you discard Encore too many times for Glinda, or maybe you just played too many things too early. Weiss kind of fixes that. So yeah, that's what she's there for. And of course, you've got your utility level 2s that just focus on keeping you alive for as long as possible. And of course, level 2 is when things get really spicy, because you can then stand by into all of your big level 3 beat sticks. A lot of the time you'll want to stand by into Ruby or Weiss because they do just provide that great field presence. You aren't always going to stand by into Blake because normally you'll be playing her early with her -1 level and hand effect. And you don't want to stand by into these because these have on-play effects that come from your hand. I guess you can stand by the Salem if you're really in a pinch and you really want to target, because she is 1100 if your opponent has 2 back row, just like the rest of the level 3 beat sticks. And Neo, never stand by her. You'll always want her in your hand. No point in bringing her back and setting her on the field. She's also 9/5, so she isn't even a particularly beefy level 3. Yeah, game plan level 3, or level 2, rather, to level 3. Just deal as much damage as possible with RWBY climax combos. Your Weiss puts 2k in front. Generally, you want to have 2 of her in the back row. If not, 1 of her and then 1 of your Brainstormers. But yeah, that's the general game plan for RWBY. Just accelerate through level 0, 1, and then levels 2 and 3, you're just focusing on just these as a baseline with your standbys and with their combos. And that's the deck overall. It's not a complicated deck to pilot. All of it's pretty straightforward. Not really any fancy tricks. You just go in, deal as much damage as possible, and get out. But that is the RWBY 4-gate 4-standby deck profile. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and hit up that comment section. I will be happy to answer them. And of course, remember to hit the like and subscribe button.
You can't say that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, a RWBY deck profile. It was nice being on the channel again. You guys will see more of me, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.